All right, let's wrap up this week. Hey guys, coming off of a week of sick and allergies, I'm actually kind of excited to report I've read a lot, quite a bit. So I did finish Curse of Sins by Kate Dramas, and I did end up liking the book, but I do question whether or not I'm actually going to finish out the series. I don't know yet. I have thoughts, which you guys saw in the last vlog, so I won't rehash that here. But I did read some things that I really loved, some things that were okay, some I DNF'd, and we'll get into that now. So the first thing I picked up after the Curse of Sins would be Dragon Fruit. Now, I got this from Book of the Month, knowing that it was a YA selection. We have a girl who finds out that dragon eggs, sea dragon eggs in particular, are known to give a person like a wish. It can right some kind of wrong in their past. And so a lot of people go on the hunt for this dragon fruit in order to rectify something that happened in their past and move on with their lives. So I thought the concept of it was really cool, and I thought that the cover art was absolutely adorable. And unfortunately, getting into it, and I was reading it, and I was thinking, if I was 14, this would be great. However, I do have a 12-year-old son who it would have been perfect for. And so I kept reading and kept reading. And then I was like, okay, this is not the book for me, but I'm going to give it to my son. And he has started to read it and he is enjoying it. But I do think that it reads quite young. The banter is not exactly what I would call adult. And so I just kept feeling like it wasn't the book for me, but I was able to pass it on to someone who absolutely enjoyed it. And then I picked up When the Moon Hatched. Now, this is a really cool concept. It is a fantasy romance, but there's a lot of fantasy in this story. And I think that it has equal parts romance and fantasy, which I really enjoy. I know there's a lot of fanro girlies out there who are like, give me the romance. No, I want the fantasy part of it too. But there's this big story about dragons. When they die, they fly up into the sky and they become a moon, and that is them deeming it the end of their time. And that is central to something that happens in this book. And you kind of go through the whole book kind of rediscovering this mystery surrounding the dragons and them becoming moons, and how our main characters tie into this particular story. And I thought it was really, really well done. I loved the main female character and the main male character in this story. They were both just chef's kiss. I do love a hardened female. We've been there before. We all know this. So if that's not the type of story that you like Mia from Nevernight, then maybe this is not for you. She's not quite as dark, like in the way she thinks and stuff like that, but her life is. And it has this really funny just episode of her saying, forget all of this, I'm gonna go live life on my own and ignore all of my problems. There is a moment, and I thoroughly enjoyed that as well. And it's not really a spoiler per se, but when you get to that point, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's really good. The romance in this is really good. And I'm not the biggest fan of amnesia tropes, but there is something about this book that made me feel like it was well utilized in this story. I don't want to get into the details of that. I'm trying to keep it a little vague, but I just thought it was amazing. And then, we have some moments of like breakneck pacing where we are in the midst of battle, but then we also have some slow moments with our characters. And I didn't feel like there were any pacing issues throughout, but I did feel like we had too much rise and fall of action. So I do think that this could have benefited from a little bit of editing, maybe so that it wouldn't break the rising and falling action, like it wouldn't be so much. But that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Like I said, I loved the characters in this story, and I will continue this series. It's really hard to talk about fantasy romance, like other than to say I liked the romance and I liked the fantasy elements in it. I did give this one 4 stars, so I am really looking forward to the next book. The next book I read would be the buddy read that we were doing on my Patreon, The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. Now, I went into this thinking I was going to hate it, that it was going to be a cozy, that I was just going to fall asleep reading it, all those kinds of things. Also, look at the bees, aren't they pretty? I liked this. I liked this quite a bit. Now, I did find it slow at times, and I did say, okay, can we just move on a couple of times. However, I did think the romance was really cute and really well done, and I liked the addition of the third wheel. And I don't want to get into spoilers or anything like that, but the third wheel, the third wheel in this scenario kept the ball rolling, so to speak. So I liked the magic in this as well. I'm always going to love witches. As long as witchcraft is a part of the story, I will enjoy it because I love seeing it play out and learning how the magic is utilized and the consequences of the magic and all of that stuff. So this had a leg up over other cozy fantasies. I will say I did not like Legends and Lattes. I liked this. Now I did land at a 3.5 because obviously cozy's not my thing, but this was actually one that surprised me and I didn't mind reading it. I was enjoying my time while I was with the book. Is it going to stick with me? Probably not. But I love this book. I love the book itself. And so I'm really glad that I had a good time with it. And then we come to my biggest disappointment of the year so far. 5 Broken Blades by Mia Corlin. Now, I was trying to annotate with this one, but it got to a certain point that I'm like, what am I annotating? What am I annotating? You'll understand when I tell you what this book is about. So this book is pitched as 5 assassins going after the king, and may the best man win. That's what's told to us, and they decide to, well, someone brings them together, and they decide this is the course we're going to take in trying to take down the king and all of that stuff. That's not what this book is about. This is a romance novel for 3 different couples. And that's all it was. So I was not going into this book expecting romance at all because it's not pitched that way. In fact, it is the season for treason. The king of Yusan must die. The 5 most dangerous liars in the land have been mysteriously summoned to work together for a single objective, to kill the god King Jun. He has it coming. Under his merciless immortal hand, the nobles flourish while the poor and innocent are imprisoned, ruined, or sold. And now each of the 5 blades will come for him. Each has tasted bitterness, from the hired hitman seeking atonement, a lovely assassin who seeks freedom, or even the prince banished for his cruel crimes. None can resist the sweet, icy lure of vengeance. They can agree on murder. They can agree on treachery. But for these 5 killers, each versed in deception, lies, and betrayal, it's not enough to forge an alliance. To survive, they'll have to find a way to trust each other. But only one can take the crown. Let the best liar win. What says romance to you guys? I was not prepared for that. And for that reason, I gave this 3 stars because what was on the inside flap did not deliver. And there's one thing about marketing a book one way and trying to get certain types of people to buy it. Honey, you missed your mark in the romantasy. Romantasy is selling like hotcakes. You could have sold double for going the romantasy route. Now you've ticked off the fans of Assassins. So yeah, that's where I landed with that one. So as you guys have probably noticed, I haven't been making too much headway into my series that I need to continue. I have read a few sequels. I did focus on some of these for buddy reads, and again, a highly, highly anticipated read. But I am currently reading Red Tigress, which is the sequel to Blood Heir, which I read at the beginning of this month, but I really want to continue this story and see where it goes because, again, I love the main female character. I love the main male character in this one. And it is YA, but it's highly, highly political. So and it doesn't focus on the romance. Like there's not even there's some flirtation. A lot of people would see that as romance, but I don't. And at the end of the book, it's kind of, I don't want to give any spoilers, but anyways, there's not romance in this so far. So I really, really enjoy political heavy fantasy, and the fact that this one is shaping up to be one of the best I've read this year, and it's young adult, maybe I need to find other books to read. I don't know. I'm really enjoying this series though, and I'm hoping that if I can, possibly, might just binge this series this month because that will knock a series off of my list that I accidentally put on the list. Even though it was in my books that I need to read before the end of the year, they will self-destruct. All right, that is it for me today. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.